on July 13, 2024, Thomas Matthew Crooks went to a rally to try and assassinate Donald Trump, his family had no idea what he was doing or that his actions would bring a lifetime of disgrace to them.
In the aftermath, the shooter's family first remained mute, but have since spoken to the media, disclosing disturbing new revelations that have turned the case upside down.
Initially, Matthew Crooks, the 53-year-old father of the shooter, made a statement to reporters when he was contacted to clear the air about what his son did. He said that he was trying to figure out what was happening and that he would get with law enforcement before saying anything. He and his wife, Elizabeth Mary Crooks, have so far cooperated with the investigators.
Especially as they were unaware of his whereabouts. According to them, they believed he was missing since he disappeared without any advanced not once.
Well, if you're yet to catch up on who the shooter was, here's a little information about him. Thomas Matthew Crooks was a quiet 20-year-old from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, a place not far from where everything unraveled at the Trump rally. He graduated from Bethel Park High School in 2022, but his school life wasn't exactly what you'd call a social highlight.
Fine. Did you ever have any interactions with Thomas, any shared classes in high school?
No, I didn't have any classes with him. My only interactions with him were just seeing him in school.
Classmates remember him as someone who kept to himself, not really the outgoing type, and unfortunately he got bullied quite a bit. He'd show up in hunting outfits, which might have made him stand out even more. But not in the way you'd want. Now, here's where things get even more curious. Crooks was registered as a Republican, but he also made a small donation of $15 to the Democratic-aligned Act Blue project right around Biden's inauguration. A bit of a contradiction, don't you think?
Crooks gave $15 to the Democratic-aligned. Crooks did appear to have an account on Discord, a messaging app. A Discord spokesman said he hadn't posted on that account in months, and that the platform had removed his account based on its off-platform behavior policy.
He didn't have much of an online presence, which is unusual for someone his age. He did have a Discord account, but he hadn't posted in months before the incident. The platform took down his account due to his activities outside of it, as part of their policy on off-platform behavior.
Officer, people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people, criminals. We have criminals. We have...
And when it all went down, he was on a roof a little over 400 feet from Trump with a rifle that belonged to his dad. His father thought he was just out at the gun range until he couldn't reach him and heard the news.
With little known about Thomas Crooks' family, we have to ask the obvious question of what exactly we know about the gunman himself.
Let's talk a little about Thomas Crooks' family. Was he from a dystopian home, an environment that could have groomed him into becoming a killer? Well, you'd be shocked to find out Thomas Crooks' parents led what seemed to be like a typical American life.
Mother, Elena, works as a home wife, but she has a background in education as a teacher at elementary school or middle school level before focusing on raising Thomas Crooks.
They both worked as social workers according to state licensing records. Voter records show that his dad leaned libertarian while his mom was a registered Democrat. Financially, they were pretty comfortable. The family's yearly income hovered around $310,000, largely thanks to Thomas's father, who built a solid career as a psychologist. His mother, on the other hand, stayed at home, but she wasn't always a housewife. Before focusing on raising Thomas and his siblings, she had a background in education, working as a teacher at the elementary or middle school level.
To his father, who purchased it legally, raises questions about the father's culpability.
Thomas Crooks' sister, Katie, is just your typical hard-working woman juggling two jobs. She was working as a janitor at a high school and a waitress at a diner too.
Is there anything you have to say? Anything you have to say to the family of the victim?
Recently, she was spotted in her red Hyundai Kona. She unloaded her belongings and brought them into the Crooks' home in Bethel Park. Katie moved out of the family home about 3 years ago, with Thomas lending a hand to get her stuff packed up. Their dad couldn't really manage the heavy lifting, so he drove the van while Thomas took care of the belongings. Now that everyone has their eyes on the Crooks family, it must be really hard for them to step out in public and not have people staring or pointing at them. Even reporters have waylaid them while they were doing a grocery run.
With the help of everyone here tonight, we're going to win Pennsylvania this November. We're going to defeat crooked Joe Biden and laughing Kamala Harris. and we're going to take back the White House, and we're going to take back our country. We're going to take it back.
Matthew Crooks told the press that they would only make a statement after their lawyer had given the go-ahead. The other family member with him was busy loading the car, and Matthew asked if he and his family could be given some privacy, expressing that they were just trying to take care of themselves and needed some space.
He then apologized. "I can't believe this happened. I feel for the families and victims."
On the other hand, Thomas's uncle apologized to reporters concerning what the boy did. Mark, 68 years of age and living about 20 miles from Thomas's hometown of Bethel Park, has had no contact with his brother Matthew or Thomas for a long time. The uncle also acknowledged how grave Thomas's actions were, saying it's impossible to forgive what he did. Mark said that Thomas had shot at everyone, killing one person and wounding several others, then apologized to the families and victims.
In the groundbreaking trial of Crumbly's mother, Jennifer, the first parent to stand trial for killings committed by their child.
The FBI is still looking into what Thomas did and have revealed some new information to us. Their computer analysis finally cracked the shooter's phone, and they combed through his electronic trail for clues. The deeper they went, the more alarming details they found. Crooks had taken an interest in the Michigan school shooter Ethan Crumbly. He had looked up everything about Crumbly, from his arrest photo to the details of Crumbly's parents. Crooks also had bomb-building searches on his devices too.
The date of Trump's rally, major depressive disorder, the Democratic National Convention, and bomb-making.
His phone history also showed searches for several high-profile political figures. Among them were Princess Catherine of Wales, who you might know as Kate Middleton, President Joe Biden, and his target, former President Donald Trump. He wasn't just browsing for celebrity gossip, though. He also looked up information on the Democratic National Convention and major depressive disorder. But it wasn't just the photos that the FBI managed to pull from Crooks' phone. He had also been near the rally site the week before the event, possibly scanning it in advance. The day before the assassination attempt, he visited a nearby shooting range. Then he'd gone to Home Depot to pick up a ladder. Things were starting to seem organized.
Flew a drone about 200 yards from the rally venue for 11 minutes, just hours before the shooting. The drone, recovered from Crooks's car, was flown at around 3:50 p.m.
And then there's this. At a hearing before the House Judicial Committee, the FBI Director Christopher Wray told everyone that the FBI recovered a drone from Crooks's car. The drone was seized along with its controller, and the FBI is currently analyzing it. The probe did not stop with Crooks's phone and vehicle. The FBI also searched his house, discovering more than a dozen guns. They pored over hundreds of digital media tips, including photos, videos, and whatever else people sent in. They also interviewed close to 100 individuals, including law enforcement officers, event attendees, and other witnesses who could have had a line of sight.
Well, after we heard the shots got fired, then the hydraulic line was spraying all around. You could see the hydraulic fluid coming out of it, and then the speaker tower started to fall down.
Although the FBI is quite certain Crooks acted alone, they had to keep open the possibility he had an accomplice. It's their job to do so, and there is, after all, something of a rumor circling around that there must have been a second shooter.
Yo, good morning. I keep getting asked about this, so I'm just gonna let you know my opinion. I am talking about the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
Dallas Alexander, a former veteran sniper, has some major doubts about the assassination attempt made on Trump. He doesn't believe that Thomas Crooks acted alone. In a recent clip, Dallas, who spent nearly 17 years in the military, 14 of those in an elite special operations unit, opened up about his experience. His team even holds the world record for the longest confirmed sniper kill. So when it comes to the protection of public figures, this guy knows his stuff.
So I'm very familiar with the layout of these types of things and what the jobs should be. And yesterday, what happened, I have I have no doubts in my mind.
Dallas, who is intensely familiar both with the setup of such events and what security should look like, found it so out of place with what he saw that he's sure Crooks had some kind of help. He mentioned that when he first saw the aerial photo of the scene, it immediately struck him as off. He pointed out that in broad daylight, it would be almost impossible for someone to get onto a rooftop just a few hundred yards from the target without assistance. But these are just theories. No one knows for certain whether there was a second shooter or not. At this hearing before the House, Ray added some new evidence, some previously unreleased evidence to share. Just a few days before, they did learn of some troubling information from a laptop associated with Thomas's name. On July 6th of this year, he searched online for "How far was Oswald from Kennedy?" If you don't know who Oswald is, let me help you out. Lee Harvey Oswald was a former U.S. Marine who killed President Kennedy on November 22, 1963, while the latter was in an open-top limousine waving at the crowd. So this information sure shows what went on in Thomas's mind. His acts weren't just random.
Spending about 20 minutes there on the morning of the event for about 17 minutes, and later went back for a final time.
That same day of July 6th, Thomas registered for the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. As Ray noted, it was not just that he found that information online. It's what he was looking for on that particular day when he was planning this trip to the rally that tells everyone about the state of mind from which he was planning this attack. It was on the 6th of July that the FBI says Crooks really started to plan this attack.
And because Thomas was over the age of 18, it will be up to the district attorney to determine if his parents will be charged.
The FBI still has not found Thomas's motive, and maybe in the coming days, we'll get to learn more about this 20-year-old who did something that shocked the world. Till then, stay tuned and subscribe to the channel to watch more interesting stories about this incident.